In a sunny Texas garden, alive with vibrant colors and sweet scents, lived a tiny bee named Mira. Every single day, from the moment the sun peeked over the horizon until it dipped back down, Mira was a blur of black and yellow. She zipped from one flower to another, her little legs dusted with golden pollen. To her, this wasn't just a job. It was her passion. She loved seeing the flowers thrive, knowing she played a part in their beauty. The garden was her world, and she was its devoted caretaker. But one summer, a shadow fell over Mira's paradise. The sun, once a warm friend, became a scorching tyrant. Weeks turned into a month, and not a single drop of rain fell from the cloudless sky. The once lush garden began to suffer. The soil cracked like an old plate, and the vibrant flowers that Mira so dearly loved started to wilt. Their colorful heads drooped, their petals grew brittle and faded. The sweet nectar they once offered began to dry up, and the garden grew quiet and sad. For the other insects, this was a signal to rest, to conserve their energy and wait for the rain. The butterflies hid in the shade, the ladybugs sought shelter under dry leaves, and even the busy ants slowed their pace. But not Mira. Her heart ached seeing her beloved flowers suffer. She told herself, even if there's just one drop of nectar left, I have to find it. The garden needs me. So she pushed on. Day after day, she flew under the relentless sun, her tiny wings beating against the hot, heavy air. The heat was exhausting, and her body grew weaker with each passing hour. The other insects watched her, whispering among themselves. Why does she keep trying? A ladybug wondered aloud. It's hopeless, but Mira ignored them. She was driven by a powerful sense of duty and love for her home. One afternoon, while trying to reach a stubbornly closed bluebonnet, it happened. Her wings faltered. A wave of dizziness washed over her, and the world spun into a blur. Mira collapsed, falling onto a dry, brown leaf, too weak to even move. She had given everything she had, and it still wasn't enough. As she lay there, her vision fading, she thought she had failed her garden. But she wasn't alone. A group of ants marching nearby saw her fall. They scurried over, their antennae twitching with concern. A wise old grasshopper, who had been watching from a blade of grass, hopped closer. Soon, a small crowd of insects gathered around the exhausted little bee. They looked at Mira, then at the wilting flowers around them, and a profound realization dawned on them. The wise grasshopper spoke, his voice filled with a newfound understanding. "We were wrong to just sit and wait," he said. "While we were resting, this little bee was fighting for all of us. Her work gives us all food and shelter. The health of this garden depends on her, but she can't do it alone." A ripple of agreement went through the crowd. They finally understood that Mira's small, tireless efforts were the very heartbeat of their shared home. In that moment, everything changed. A powerful spirit of unity swept through the garden. The ants, masters of organization, began to lead the charge. "We will find water," their leader declared. They formed long lines, traveling to the edge of the garden where a forgotten sprinkler head held a few precious drops of water. They carried the droplets back, one by one, carefully placing them at the roots of the thirsty plants. The butterflies, with their large, delicate wings, joined in. They fluttered over the flowers, creating gentle breezes to cool them from the harsh sun. The spiders, who usually kept to themselves, began to spin intricate webs, not to catch prey, but to catch the morning dew, creating tiny nets of life-giving moisture. Every single creature, big and small, found a role to play. They worked together, a united army, all for one common goal, to save their home. Slowly but surely, their collective efforts began to pay off. The thirsty flowers drank the water the ants brought, and their wilted stems began to straighten. The cool air from the butterflies' wings gave them a reprieve from the heat. As the plants revived, they started producing nectar again. Mira, who was being cared for by a family of ladybugs, began to regain her strength. She sipped the fresh nectar they brought her, and color returned to her fuzzy body. When she was finally strong enough to fly again, she looked out at a garden transformed. It wasn't just alive, it was more vibrant than ever before. Flowers of every color bloomed with a newfound brilliance, and the air hummed with the joyful sounds of a community working in harmony. Mira's heart swelled with gratitude. Her small, persistent effort had not been in vain. It had sparked a movement, inspiring everyone to contribute. The great drought finally ended, but the lesson it taught the garden's residents remained. They learned that every action, no matter how small, has the power to create a ripple of change. They learned that when they work together, they are unstoppable. And they never again underestimated the power of one tiny determined bee who refused to give up. So next time you feel like your efforts are too small to matter, remember Mira. Remember that your contribution, your voice, your action, could be the one that saves the garden. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories.